Hey guys, today I'm going to be doing an ICV or idle control valve swap on an E36 BMW 328. As far as I know, this procedure will be the same for any OBDII E36 6-cylinder BMW, whether it's a 328, a 323, or an M3. It should all be the same process. So the reason I'm making the video is because I didn't see any of a 6-cylinder BMW and had to change this. I saw one for a 318, but that doesn't necessarily help me out. So yeah, I thought this was a really daunting process, but once I did it to clean my ICV like a while back, I actually ended up finding it to be extremely easy. I finished it probably in less than an hour, and it was my first time, and I didn't really know what I was doing other than reading DIYs, which is always easier for me to watch a video. So I decided that I should probably try to help someone else that's in my position. So anyway, let's hop right into what we get in the box over here. This is the ECS tuning kit. It was like $107, and comes with a new ICV, which is here, a new hose that goes from your MAF boot, which if you haven't replaced the MAF boot, you probably should, because it can cause vacuum leaks because of the cracks. But anyway, this is a new MAF boot hose that goes from the ICV to the MAF boot, a new grommet that you stick onto the bigger portion of the ICV that's going to go into the intake manifold, which is actually the hardest part of this whole thing, I think, is getting this back in the intake manifold. And then a new little elbow that you stick into the MAF boot, which you then put into one of these ends. I can't remember which one, probably the smaller one. Alright, so I'm just going to go ahead and assemble this real quick, and then I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how to take this apart. Alright guys, so we're going to go ahead and get started now. What you're going to want to do is take off your air box, and your whole intake basically we're going to take off here. So I'm just trying to make this so you guys can see. Not too sure. Alright guys, so we're going to go ahead and get started now. We're going to go ahead and start by removing the whole intake here. So it's pretty straightforward. Your airbox is secured by two, I believe it's 10mm nuts. I'm missing one of them on this airbox, but I got one. I just hand tightened it because I ended up working on this car so much. Alright, so anyway, let's go ahead and get that started there, see if I get a good camera angle. Sorry if it's not that great, but I'm going to do my best here. My first video, so bear with me. I'm going to go ahead and get my tools set up. Alright, got that. And we're going to go ahead and, basically this whole thing is actually done with a 10mm socket. Pretty much a 3/8 ratchet with a deep well socket will work. I'm going to go ahead and pop off your clips over here with a flathead of some sort. Just get some leverage in there and pop that off. And then what I'm going to do now is, like I said with my hand, just loosen these over here. So get that all nice and taken off. You got to remove your cruise control, which is this module right here that we're staring right at. Just got to move it out of the way just by picking it up, something like that. Now that it's unbolted, lifting onto the airbox, and my phone again, lifting onto the airbox like so, and just pulling the MAF out of the way and lifting the airbox out without breaking things. That's the ideal way to do this. All right. So now we have the most kind of like the bigger thing out of the way here, the airbox. We can kind of see what we're dealing with. Now we have our MAF. Whoops. We have our MAF boot, which I was saying you guys should change. Or actually, I'm not sure if I said that or not, but if I didn't, then you guys should change this to a new one, like I have done here, because these tend to crack and cause vacuum leaks, which isn't good. So now we're gonna go ahead and unscrew our MAF connector there. Once that's off. Goodness, okay. Now that that's off, we can go ahead and loosen the MAF boot from the intake there. So we're going to go ahead and loosen that with a flathead or whatever socket fits your hose clamp that you have in particular. Everybody kind of has different ones depending on who's worked on their car or what. I have kind of a small screwdriver, which makes it annoying, but it is what it is. So now my MAF is off. That over there safely aside. I'll probably have to change that soon, but that's really easy because we'd be there right now if we were doing that. And now get the MAF boot off. So now that the MAF's off, we just want to get this off right here, which is done by removing this hose clamp. We're going to go ahead and get that off, and then it starts to get a little bit annoying after that. I'm not going to lie to you guys, but it's still like not bad at all. It's really not. It's just all these DIYs I've read made it seem so bad like have to move the intake manifold. You don't have to do any of that. So this is so easy to do. Now I'm gonna try to make this real time. If I don't run into problems anyway, I'll probably edit some parts out. But if I don't run into any problems, then real time it'll probably be. So gonna make that loose up, and there goes one of my hose clamps. First annoyance of the day. So let's try to get this back in there and loosen this some more. Hose clamps are really annoying to me. I don't know. Redid my cooling system, and then I put it all together. I didn't get new hose clamps, and then of course the old ones I've had all this time start to give me problems. It just never fails. Always something, I swear. Alright, got that off. So we're gonna go ahead and take that hose clamp out of the way so that one doesn't fall. Now this is what you guys have to remember here when you're doing this. So you don't want to just tear at this, really. I mean, you're gonna kind of have to tear at it depending on how tight your vacuum line is. But so this is, you think that this is ready to go, but it's still actually connected to the ICV by this hose down here. You can't really see it, sorry. This hose that I'm kind of grabbing. These gloves are black, so it's hard to tell what I'm touching. But there's a hose right here, a really big hose. The one I showed you on the new ICV that came with the kit. So I'm gonna go ahead and be a little vigorous here with this. I'm not so worried about this MAF boot since it is brand new. Chances are I'm probably not gonna break it because it's not old and brittle. Alright, so here's the MAF boot off of there. So this little barb thing is also new in the kit. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull that off, which is probably not gonna be an easy task. Probably gonna involve a lot of twisting and pulling and hurting. Technically happens, and of course running into problems already with trying to get it off, but I'll worry about that a little later. So now we're at the part where we're at our ASC throttle body, if your E36 has it, which I think pretty much all of them do after 95, and your regular throttle body, your normal one that moves when you press the gas. So your ASC one, you're gonna have to take off now. So it's just these two 10mm bolts right here, really straightforward. That's all that's holding this on. It's crazy. There's one down here, right there. So we're gonna go ahead and remove that next. If I can get a good kind of angle there. There we go. So we're gonna go ahead and take that off with my trusty ratchet here. So make sure we're tightening. That's not good. So I'm gonna go ahead and loosen these 10mm bolts. I made them kind of tight. Okay. Get that one now. Your brake master cylinder is kind of in your way, or your your brake fluid reservoir kind of in your way, which gets a little annoying, but my ratchet just clears. So now that I got that loose, I'm gonna go ahead and take them off by hand here with the socket. And yeah, so let me just get this off here. Got one, and we got two over here. I don't think this just falls off, because I think it's got some kind of, remember it has like a big gasket in here or something. So let's get this one off here. Man, that one is on there. Alright, now that's off. So, back to our assembly here. Alright, get this back on. Alright, so now we're going to pull our ASC throttle body off, like so, and just kind of leave it somewhere. I don't know, just put it somewhere where it's not going to get in your way, which is kind of difficult because it kind of gets in your way everywhere that you put it, because in order to actually really get it out of the way, you have to move all kinds of connectors and hoses, and not really fun, I would not say. Alright, so I'm trying to get a better place for the camera here, but I'm not sure if any of this is going to suffice. Does not look like that is. Let's see, I don't know, I kind of like it up here, so we're going to try to put it here, move the throttle body around, kind of out of our way, best I can. So, alright, so back to this. So now we just have our throttle body. This is an important gasket right here, this black gasket. This is your gasket for your ASC. You don't, I mean, I think you're supposed to kind of change this if you want. I don't know, I don't really care. Looks fine to me, I guess. Alright, so now we're going to have 4, my car only has 3 for some reason, I don't know. It never really bothered me, but there's supposed to be 4 throttle body bolts that connect to your intake manifold. You have one 10mm in here, one in here, and then there's one that's kind of hard to see. It's right here, right there. You see the tip of it, and there's another one on this side that's supposed to be there, but again, my car doesn't have that, so we're not gonna worry about that last one there. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove these 4 bolts, or 3 bolts in my case. So get that in there. Go ahead and just loosen that, and then break this loose. Get this one. Right now, if those are broken loose, I'm just gonna again use the socket by hand just to get them out of there. And for some reason, I just like doing that. It feels easier to me. Alright, that one appears to be out. This one too. Alright, now I think I got those out, but I'm not 100% sure. I'm gonna find out when I try to pull the bracket off here. Feels like it because it's coming off now when I do this. So. Alright, so the throttle body is now completely removed from the vehicle, from the intake manifold rather. So what we're going to want to do now is, remember these bolts, obviously you don't want to forget these, they're very long, kind of hard to forget which ones they are. So you're going to want to pull the ASC bracket off, which is this thing right here. You want this off. I'm going to leave my screws and my bolts in there since they're safe. Put this on the floor. That's what your ASC connects to. So you don't want to forget that. Now here's just the throttle body. I'm going to remove the TPS connector since we're not worrying about that. I'm going to take, I don't know what this little guy is down here, but I just like to remove it just to make sure it's not bothering me when I'm trying to work on in that area because it's about to get kind of tight in here. So I just throw this down to the side somewhere, whatever, something like that, just out of my way. And you want to be very careful when you're messing with your throttle body though, because you got coolant hoses here that you don't want to mess up, man. Cooling problems on these cars especially are just a nightmare, and you just know. This car had a head replaced actually on it. I had to replace the head because it cracked from overheating, and it's just not a fun thing. So make sure you don't mess up your coolant stuff. And if you do, fix it promptly. Don't drive the car because you don't want problems later on. Alright, so now that the throttle body is kind of out of the way, not really, just kind of want to try to get it as out of the way as you can without ruining things, because that's how problems happen. It's kind of giving me a hard time. But anyway, the next thing you want to do is kind of pretty much out of the way now to the point where I can get to the ICV. So there's these 3 10mm bolts right here. 1, 2, and 3. The third one holds your dipstick on for your oil, to check your oil. So you don't want to take the dipstick off, you just want to remove this bolt right here. These 3 have to come off. These secure the ICV to the intake manifold. So those 3 have to be removed. So we're going to go ahead and remove those 3 there. So get my 10mm socket again. And just start getting to work on these. Cables are always so annoying all the time in my way. So just go ahead and get this out by hand, one of them, unless it doesn't want to cooperate. Alright, now get this out by hand maybe. Not yet. I'll just break the other ones loose in the meantime while I'm working on that. And lastly, my dipstick one over here. Alright, these are really tiny little bolts though, these ones, so you want to remember those too. They're a little smaller than the ASC throttle body ones, so you should know what they all are. The longest ones are the throttle body bolts, and the ASC ones are the short, or the middle ones kind of, and the 3 over here are the tiniest ones. They're really, really, really short, so there's not much thread to them. Not too much thread, so got that one out. So now my final one is my dipstick one, which should come out no problem now. And sure enough, got that one out. Easy. Alright, so that's out. So now the ICV is actually just suspended by the rubber grommet in the intake manifold at this point. So we got those three out. Our dipstick is free to move, but we don't want to take that out because that looks complicated, and I don't like complicated things. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove the ICV now. This is where it gets a little tricky here. But the hardest part is putting it back. So if you got to this part, you're almost done, really. I mean, you just gotta grab it. It's kind of hard to see. Actually, it's really hard to see where it is in this situation, but try to get this a little lower. I can't, unfortunately. But it's where that hose connects right here. This hose, this is the ICV where it goes into. So you just want to grab it. Actually, you just want to grab the thing, man. And then you just want to pull on it till it comes out of the intake manifold. If I could just get my hand in there. There we go, came right out, easy. It was hard the first time I did it, but now I guess because it's not that long ago, it's not that hard. And so the bracket that you just unscrewed a second ago is actually all part of the ICV. So that's actually something you're gonna want to switch over to your new ICV. And you cannot forget that you have a wire on the back of the ICV that the DME controls to regulate your idle. So you obviously need to unplug that. You can't just rip that out of the car. So let me try to get in there, and I'm gonna have to block the view a little bit, guys, right now. Sorry about that. And move the throttle body and get the ICV out of here. And then just unplug the ICV from the car, which is difficult in this tight quarter area. Oh man, I have a back grip on it, it's difficult. Alright, ICV is free now. Got that out. So here's our ICV here. Let me just get a better view. So, sorry. Alright, so here's the ICV. The old one here. So here's the grommet that we replaced. We'll just walk over to the new ICV and show you what this looks like again. So I've assembled this ICV already. It's pretty much a direct replacement at this point, other than the bracket itself that I need to put in on it. So we have our new one here. So as you can see, it's already pre-assembled. I already put the new grommet on it and all that. So I just need to slide this off real quick. Alright guys, so I have the old one and the new one here next to each other. Got the new grommet installed. I moved the bracket over from the old one to the new one. Put the new hose on. This one's a little cracked, or the old one's a little cracked, but I don't know if it's really anything huge or... Sorry, I'm all over the place with the camera. I don't know if it's, I mean, I guess that's probably not a good thing. But the actual hose itself doesn't look bad. It's just that fitting there looks not that good. Anyway, so the one thing you want to know is this. So this is usually a sign of a bad ICV from what I understand. When I cleaned this one out recently, it kind of started doing the right thing, but look, I'm shaking it right now and you don't hear anything. I kind of hear it's not really moving the valve inside. However this works, it's kind of hard to see that, but yeah, it's supposed to move freely, and it's not, meaning this is probably on its way out. I mean, it is on its way out. The car's been stalling on me. I tried to clean it to resolve that. It worked for a little while, but it seems to be getting stuck again, and it looks like that's the case. This one, now listen to the difference, if you guys can hear this. So, this one you can actually see inside. But you hear how the valve moves freely inside just when I do that? And this one again, nothing. So it's pretty locked up. I mean, cleaning it out again might help, but I mean, I bought a new one, so I'm not going to do that. But alright, so this is ready to go back in the car now, so let's walk back over there and get this back in the car. So we're halfway done now. So I'm not one of those installation is reverse the removal. I kind of would rather show someone how to put it back in, but at the end of the day, it really is reverse the removal. So the hardest part really is just getting this thing back in, the rubber grommet lined up, and this is a new one, so I don't know how this is going to work compared to when I got the old one back in. This might be even more difficult. So there's like a little recess, not a recess, I don't know the proper word, but if you can see, maybe you can see, I don't know, there's like a little protrusion, I believe that's the word. I can't show it to you on camera, I don't think, but there's a little protrusion, my finger's touching it right now, that the hole is under for this to slide into. So the hardest part really is just getting that back in there. Really, it is. I think of the whole thing, that is the hardest. And then you gotta get this bracket lined up again with the holes and all that. Man, these alignment things suck. I hate these kind of things. So, all right, I believe I oriented this hose properly, or pretty close anyway. Probably enough to where I can bend it and it'll be all right. So yeah, here we go. This is the worst part, in my opinion, is just getting this back in. So, 'cause, I mean, we're pretty much halfway done, really. So. Alright, let's see if I get this back in without tearing it up or whatever, ruining it. It's already being difficult. Oh, and definitely, I almost forgot just now, definitely do not forget to connect the power wire, or else you won't have an ICV at all. It won't idle control, because the ME does not know how to talk to it then, because it can't see it. So we're going to go ahead and connect that first before I really get going with this whole process, because that's hard to do after. I can get it on there. Of course, I have it upside down. Alright, there we go. Now it's a nice firm click, so ICV is connected to the car. Now it's a matter of just getting it in the hole here and then throwing this thing back together. This really is the most difficult thing, man. I can't say that enough. This part just sucks. It really does. But if you've gotten this far, you could probably do it. So, all right. Normally, jobs help. It's a lot easier with certain jobs if you have someone helping. But in this case, I would say that's definitely not the case, because you can't fit another set of hands in here. I can barely get my own hands in here, and I'm not a big guy. So, this stuff is just like in my way, man. So. Close, definitely close now, but not close enough. I don't know what it's getting all caught up on. Oh, okay, it looks like it might be in the right direction now. I think I might have the right amount of play, and I just gotta move it back and up. Oh my goodness, I did it, guys. I got it in there. Alright, so now the ICV is actually placed in the car. You can see the grommet now a lot better than the other one, because this one's a lot clearer, like a lot lighter. So it's up in this protrusion here. It's nice, and I'm just giving it another press just for a good measure. Seems like it's definitely in there. So now we're just gonna do the easy parts, in my opinion, which is just get the little screws again like I showed you guys previously, and just get the dipstick secured into the bracket. Actually, get the top ones first, because the dipstick is just connected to the ICV. We don't want to put extra strain on that right now while we're trying to get this all together. The top two are actually in the intake manifold, so that's the securing point for the ICV itself. So, gonna get those two started there, so this thing won't come out on us while we're working on it. We don't want to be excited before we're done, right? So, get this in there. Really not that hard of a job. It's really not. It's just a little difficult. I've done this once already. It took me a lot longer the first time, because I didn't understand. I didn't see that protrusion. It was just a nightmare for me. But I'm hoping this helps you guys when you do yours. Maybe you'll get this done a little quicker. Maybe even get it done faster than I'm doing it right now, because maybe you guys will just, I don't know, be better than I am at this. So, oh, whoops, I'm using the wrong screw. It does thread though. It does thread. I'm using the ASC one. I got a little carried away. Looks like it does thread, so let me just unthread it. Wonder why I was turning so long. Okay. This one actually I don't think will ever bottom out. Getting a hard time now getting this one started. Such is life. Alright, looks like I got this started now, the dipstick, so that's good. Hopefully the dipstick is still in the place it belongs, or wherever that is. I don't even know. These things are like magic to me. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and get my 10mm socket again and just hand tighten things. Make sure it all goes in smoothly. Make sure it feels good. I don't want any problems, no stripping, none of that. So, cross thread, we don't want any problems when we work on cars, because that sucks. Alright, so this looks pretty good. Just going to give it, I don't think this is really a high torque application, to be honest. I'm just going to give it a nice, like, just a small turn, just so I feel nice about it when I just tighten a little, just to know that it's secured. Alright. Alright, and that's that. So, the ICV is in the car. Looks good. So now we just got to get the intake or rather the throttle body back in there. So let's get started on that process now. So before I do that, so as you can see now the ICV is back in there, the dipstick is secured. Yeah, so I don't know, I think you're supposed to really clean the throttle body if you want, but I did spray it down last time and it doesn't look as bad as it did, so I'm just going to leave it alone. I don't want to mess with that right now. That and I'm almost out of math cleaner. I'd rather use it for when I need it more often. So it's alright, we're going to go ahead now and just get the throttle body up into place. First we got to get this underneath here because this is in our way now. The big hose for the ICV is in my way. Actually, I don't remember which way this is supposed to go, which is strange, but this is probably the way it goes. I think it goes under the throttle body, so let's get the big, I almost forgot my own rule. We gotta get the ASC bracket before we do that. That way we can get it actually on there, so just to make this stop dangling, I'm gonna reconnect the TPS just to get that done. Alright, so now that works there. I'm gonna go ahead and get the bracket. Oh, well, look at that. I have to take this back off. My mistake. So now I'm going to go ahead and get this back on there. Oh, no. And then I go drop in the screws. Alright. Now let's try this again. Go ahead and do this. Get the bracket over that. There we go. Alright, now we go ahead and connect this. Okay, so go ahead and line that up. Get our long bolts here. Just get the bottom one started. That way we can at least position this properly, because that I can actually get my finger in. Kind of. Yes, there we go. It's probably better to get the socket though. I mean, just the actual socket, not the tool, because we want to be able to feel what we're doing here. Make sure threading it properly, it doesn't feel weird or anything like that. Alright, it appears that we got it started. We did. Alright, so I'm just gonna grab my long ones up here still, get this in here. Oop, and I dropped it again. Awesome. So I'm gonna go ahead and try it with the other one. And go ahead and start screwing that into the top there. And again, I don't have a fourth one. For whatever reason, my car just didn't have it. I don't know. I mean, it's been fine for the 50,000 miles I've owned it, so I'm not going to worry about that last one. So let me just get the other bolt that, of course, fell under the oil pan. So I have to reach in real far to get it. And I got my hose clamp, also that I dropped earlier that I forgot about. Great. So now we're gonna get the final one in there. My final one, probably not yours, unless your car is like mine and missing one of its screws. Alright, so. So that's pretty hand tight there. Well, not all the way, but just enough for me to be a little happy with it at the moment. Really wish I did have a fourth window just for peace of mind, but like I said, it's been fine, so. Again, we don't really want to go super tight on this, I don't think. I mean, I wouldn't want to because I don't want to break the intake manifold or whatever. Just want to get it happily tightened to the point where I feel safe. Like that. And that was that there, alright. Now I'm going to go ahead and reconnect my ASC throttle body, which I'm like forgetting how to do at the moment. Okay, it was like this, I believe, so like that. Okay, so we get this back on there, nice and pressed on. We're going to get our remaining bolts, since we're pretty much done over here. We just got to reconnect this, screw it into the sides here, so I can get them started. That'd be cool. Let's get one started, I guess. I'm going to get this over with. Yay. This one gets to get tightened too. Yeah, see this one, I mean, it's like no room right here with the brake fluid reservoir. It's like really annoying and in my way constantly. Maybe now I have enough to get this going. Alright, so go ahead and tighten these now. Again, I don't think these are something that have to be done super tight, but just enough to make you feel like they're tight, you know. Okay, get this on there. Can't really get a second hand in there, so make sure it's good. And then you start just tightening it. Guess it wasn't tight enough yet, so it was slipping around now. Alright. Alright, feels good to me. So, now that's really the only thing we needed the tool for. So, now we're back to this point. We have our throttle bodies reconnected, all that. Here's our hose. Hopefully I don't have to pull this around. That's going to be really annoying. But this looks like it's in the right place. I just can't remember, honestly. Alright, so now I'm going to want to grab the MAF boot, but before I do that I want to change the barb. Guys, so I got the new barb in here. That was one heck of a chore to get that thing out of here. Alright, anyway, so the new one's in here. So now we're just going to continue this, and we're going to go ahead and put the hose clamp back on here in a way that makes it easy to deal with should we have to take it back off or whatever. So, and make it like that. And now I'm going to take this and try to connect it if this is hopefully the right way, which kind of looks like it is. So go ahead and get that on there, if it even works. Man, more problems. But wow, that barb, guys, was a chore. Because I just finished this here, so button everything back up, got my strut brace back on. Go ahead and putting my my tools away, but I guess I'll just wait till we're done for that, because at the end of the day I might have to take this back apart, but I hope I don't have to. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to start it up. Everything's back together. Just make sure you double check. Get your MAF reconnected. You got all your hose clamps back on. This is back on depending on the intake you have. I had a carbon fiber one, but I broke it on accident. Pretty mad about that. Everything looks good. I put this little guy back where he was. So, alright, we're going to go ahead and give it a start up, and hopefully it idles, because it would really suck if it didn't. Alright, here we go. Alright. Idling, albeit a little high, but hopefully it comes back to normal. So, car runs, so that's all good. So I guess it works. Take it for a little drive and make sure it works right.